AITA for laughing at my brother when his girlfriend dumped his sorry ass. Okay, so I've been holding this in for a while, and I really need to know if I'm the asshole here. The story starts with me, Rohan, and my older brother, Prakash. We've always had a bit of a rocky relationship, mostly because Prakash is the golden child, and I'm, well, not. Prakash has always been the star in our family's straight A's, sports captain, the whole package. Meanwhile, I'm just the guy who likes to keep to himself and paint. Anyway, about a year ago, Prakash started dating this girl, Meera. She was way out of his league, and everyone knew it, including Prakash. I mean, she was stunning, smart, and super down to earth. We all thought she'd eventually figure out she was too good for him, but she stuck around. They were the it couple, and my parents were over the moon about it. Fast forward to last month. Prakash comes home one day, looking like he's seen a ghost. I'm in the kitchen, minding my own business, when he storms in, slams the door, and throws himself onto the couch. "She dumped me," he mutters, barely audible. I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing. I know, it's a dick move, but I just couldn't stop. The golden boy finally faced some real-life consequences, and it was hilarious. Prakash glared at me with those tear-filled eyes, but I didn't care. For once, he wasn't perfect, and it felt good. So here's where things get sticky. Prakash didn't take my reaction well. He went full nuclear, screaming at me about how heartless I was, how I've always been jealous of him, yada yada. My parents rushed in, and of course, they took his side. Mom gave me her classic disappointed look, and Dad just shook his head in that way that made me feel like a complete failure. Prakash stormed off to his room, and my parents sat me down for a talk. They told me I needed to apologize and be more supportive of my brother. But seriously, how could I? Prakash has always treated me like shit, always rubbing his successes in my face. Now that he was finally experiencing a bit of my reality, I was supposed to coddle him? I decided to let it go and not apologize. The tension in the house was thick, but I just kept to myself. Prakash moped around for days, looking like a kicked puppy. It was kind of pathetic, honestly. I mean, come on. He had everything handed to him on a silver platter his whole life. It was about time he faced some hardship. A week later, we had a family dinner at our grandparents' place. I was dreading it because I knew the topic of Meera would come up. Sure enough, halfway through the meal, my grandma asked Prakash how Meera was doing. The entire table went silent, and Prakash's face turned beet red. "She broke up with me," he muttered, staring at his plate. The room filled with sympathetic murmurs, and my mom put her arm around him. My dad started to say something when my grandpa interrupted. "Rohan, why don't you have a girlfriend yet?" he asked, his tone implying that I was some kind of failure for being single. I snapped. "Maybe because I'm not a hypocritical jerk who treats people like crap," I said, glaring at Prakash. The table went dead silent again. Prakash shot up from his seat, looking like he was about to explode. "You think you're so perfect, Rohan. At least I've had a girlfriend. You're just a bitter, jealous loser who can't stand to see me happy," he shouted. I stood up, ready to throw a punch, but my dad stepped in between us. "Enough," he bellowed. "Both of you sit down." I sat, but the tension was still there, crackling like static electricity. I glanced at Prakash, who was seething with rage, and I knew this wasn't over. A few days after the dinner, I was painting in the garage when Meera showed up. She looked upset and asked if we could talk. I was surprised, but agreed. We sat down, and she started to explain why she broke up with Prakash. Turns out Prakash had been cheating on her for months with a girl from his college, Ria. Meera found out and confronted him, but he denied it. She finally got proof and dumped him on the spot. She also told me that Prakash had been talking crap about me behind my back, telling her how much of a loser I was and how he felt sorry for our parents for having a son like me. I was furious. All this time, I thought Prakash was just a golden boy jerk, but he was way worse. I thanked Meera for telling me and decided it was time to confront Prakash. That evening, I waited for Prakash to come home. When he walked through the door, I confronted him with everything Meera had told me. He tried to deny it, but I had the texts Meera had shown me. You're a liar and a cheat, Prakash. You've been treating everyone like garbage, and now you expect sympathy because you got dumped? You deserve it, I yelled. My parents came running, demanding to know what was going on. I laid it all out for them. The cheating, the lies, everything. My mom burst into tears, and my dad looked like he was going to have a stroke. Prakash tried to play the victim, but it was too late. The truth was out. In the end, my parents grounded Prakash and took away his car and privileges. He sulked around the house, but I didn't care. He finally got what was coming to him, and I couldn't be happier. So, Reddit, AITA for laughing at my brother when his girlfriend dumped his sorry ass? Because honestly, I don't think I am.